Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 42 and 46-year-olds from Kincardine, Ontario and Lumsden, Saskatchewan, Canada. One is a 6th round draft pick of the Montreal Canadiens. Their hockey journeys have taken them to Canada, the USA, Sweden, and England. One returns to the shed after episode 180, has combined for 556 goals, plays, or listens. And rumor has it is about to muck it up as the Ripley Wolves head coach. A staple. Or what? Oh, the other is a staple and ran amok with the Regina Pat Canadians. And was an Air Canada Cup most sportsmanlike player. He is a legend with the Western Michigan Broncos. Before mucking it up for 13 pro seasons, lacing up for over 800 matches, and accumulating 1,499 penalty minutes. Couldn't get that last one, folks. Becoming a Kelly Cup champion with the South Carolina Stingrays, an EIHL playoff and league champion with the Sheffield Steelers, and a Central Hockey League All-Star, and is 1-0 in boxing for sure. Welcome to the shed, Joel Irving and Jeff Alcombrack.
Thank you. I love being on this already. I like that intro.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to have
the
Broncos
tires
in the shed.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I know you just from being at Western. You know, we know all the same spots.
Oh, for
Love
sure.
it.
So have you been to Waldo's?
Oh yeah. I know every corner of that place.
So they had the free pitchers back then, did they? Or the cheap pitchers?
Yeah. Or else the K-Wings were buying them for us. So
we didn't really hang out with those guys back in my day.
Yeah. Well, they were the IHL back then. That was a long time ago. So we had some stories with those guys as well.
Waldo's is the place where literally, folks, you don't order drinks, you order a pitcher, and everybody walks around the bar with their own pitcher of mixed drinks, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
You can get right in one there, folks.
For sure. Yeah.
So I get into how we know each other. Alky texted me and said, "Hey, my buddy from way back when's a Bronco. Let's get him in the shed." Right?
Yeah. We're at the Bakersfield game and we were talking to one of his buddies. He said something about Western Michigan, and I just started laughing. I'm like, Wally went to Western Michigan, so we're about 5 beers deep. I'm like, well, I better text Wally, see if he knows this guy. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so we were probably a few years apart, Wally. So
I figure it's you didn't even go to school with the guys that were seniors when I was there. You never played with Dave Cousineau, right?
No, I went with your coaches. I checked up. You were Brendan Kenny, Chris Brooks, Jim
Hey,
Collins.
Alky, can we keep the chewing and like the handwork to a minimum, please? Here, we're trying to have a podcast.
Couple chippers, man.
Some things haven't
Holy
changed.
moly.
He's just burying chips right now.
And this is the trainer around town. What am I going to tell my little shed guys when they watch this and you're just crushing chips? You're the trainer.
Those are Dos Equis, buddy. I'm on the Dos Equis.
Every town needs a guy that fills a role. You're the worker-outer guy, and you can't be in the shed crushing chips, Alky.
Sorry, man. I'll go to the protein bars.
There you go. Okay.
So I got Gatorade out or no?
Good news. He's almost done. He's
Okay.
almost crushed the entire bag. So
That's
bro.
good.
No,
Alky.
I'm done on the chippers.
So anyways, you guys are in Bakersfield. So what, you were watching their hockey match? What's that, the East Coast?
AHL.
Oh dear. I'm so out of touch, eh?
It's they're Edmonton's farm team now. Some good players.
Yeah, so we started off in Bakersfield as the East Coast Hockey League back to when I played here. And now Edmonton Oilers have taken over basically the whole program here and AHL team as well. So so everything's moved up a league.
So it's still a pretty good flight for those AHL guys to get to Edmonton, though, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But this place is great. Like to play.
Is it the arena, the barn you guys played at?
It's exactly the same one. Yeah. So it seats about 12,000 fans.
You guys how many fans were you guys getting?
So we were pulling in pretty much sellouts on Friday and Saturday nights here when we were the East Coast League team. now that was when oil was pretty hot in Bakersfield, and people where there's a lot more money and a lot more corporate stuff going on. They were filling the seats, and not to say that it's not entertaining hockey now, but there was more fighting, there was more entertainment probably in the hockey. Now it's
A lot of
the
skill.
AHL, the level of hockey is up, but there's less
Entertainment, you could say. Yeah, it's not quite as
and they're getting
entertaining.
about, I'd say they're probably at 7,500 or so maybe at that game. maybe.
Yeah.
Do you remember how entertaining hockey was though? When there was like big dudes on each team just skating around, like their jerseys rolled up at the sleeves, and like they're skating around eyeballing each other, and all the fans are in a frenzy, like, when are they gonna do it?
Yeah. I remember Yablonsky one time in Idaho with his shirt off on the bench, and we were all looking over there, and he was just taping his stick like this, and everybody was like, okay, drinking Gatorade over the thing. Like, gonna take a couple of shifts to get me warmed up tonight.
So I get into how we know each other. I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the YouTube. No, we're gonna start with Irv Swervin. We're gonna talk about our text there. Alki sets us up. We've never chatted. And then you said, I'm all in. Let's do this. I said, sounds great. And you said you started the fight song for Western, right?
I just wanted to get confirmation that we were on the same page with Western, and
We were talking about the same Western Michigan, not Western Ontario. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all confirmed. So we were good to go. So,
Fight on. Can you sing it?
I can't. No, I can't. But I used to be the mumbler at the end of it. When
I
the
know.
guys would
I
get
didn't.
it going, and then by the end, I would mumble it.
I don't even know if we won enough games for me to know it.
Hey, our team, the senior year, still has the record for the most losses in a row. 18 at Western that last year.
Wow,
yeah, it wasn't good.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Wow.
I didn't know if we were going to throw that one in.
But so what I'd say though, I've said it before, is Western Michigan has everything you need to have one of the best programs in the NCAA, and they do have it now. I thought they had everything you need. As soon as I saw that campus, the arena, the fans, I was like, oh God, I'm home,
Yeah, it is beautiful there. It's a great campus. Yeah, I actually canceled all of my visits after that. I had probably like 20 set up. I was just going to do visits the entire summer, and went to Western first and shut them all down after that. And it was awesome arena. The workout facilities were great. They took you out. You had a good time. There's lots of fun to be had. But yeah, no, I was sold on it right away, and I'm sure you were too.
Did you see the workout facilities, Wally?
Well, I learned about them when I got there.
Did you guys still have Bronco Bob when you were there? He was the workout guy.
Bob Vezzo was the football guy.
Yeah. So
he did our team the first year as well as the football guys, and we trained in the football stadium. And man, walking through the football locker room and then sharing the weight room with those dudes, the amount of weight those fellas could lift.
Oh,
a little freshman boy from Elmira, Ontario could get quite like, I don't even know what to thought. I didn't know what to think when I saw those guys. They'd be shaking and lifting like 1,000 pounds, and I'd be squatting 135, and I think I'd shit myself.
Yeah. So I was very similar. So I showed up to, the first day of campus as an 18-year-old true freshman, and they had me on the bench press, and my 245s were falling off each side and onto the ground. So I got assigned to Bronco Bob. So I had to meet with him before everybody else showed up to the weight room and started to work out. I had to work out for an hour before him to get me up to speed. And then they had me in working out with the football team. And I remember the coach coming by and shaking my hand. He's like, "You must be the kicker." And I was like, not the kicker. Working on it though. Working on it. So, yeah.
It is interesting though when you get to know football, because I didn't know it before, but like every position they do have different physiques, and you are the kicker.
Yeah,
I was either the equipment manager or the kicker. I wasn't quite sure at that point.
Well, we better not skip over. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Holy moly, should be a late one, folks. The YouTube boxing video. Okay. So, You said Brandon Kenny had something to do with setting this up. So my background with Brandon Kenny, who is a confirmed shed guy who I haven't got on now because he's this big time CEO, right?
Yeah.
He took me under his wing when he was our assistant coach at Western. Like, he cared about me and he was trying to get me to make it. And he came up with some interesting workout tactics to try and get me in shape, and it wasn't that fun all the time.
Yeah. No, so Brandon's he's a great guy. So and I played with him. I'm not quite sure how many years I played with him there, 2 or 3, I believe.
Three, the research team thinks.
Okay, yeah. So how that whole video came is, it's obviously I got looped into a boxing match at K-Wing Stadium, and
that was at K-Wing Stadium.
Yeah, so it ended up being a sold out K-Wing Stadium by the time it all got rolling. So
it was for groceries for the week, wasn't it?
Yeah. So my 3 roommates. So Steve Duke. Jeff
are you at Western Michigan at this point?
Yes, this is my grade after my senior year. Yeah. So, and I'm just about. So I'm
so you're
ready to sign.
pro. You're ready to turn pro. You're
I'm
drafted by the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be signing with Montreal Canadiens in probably a couple weeks. So not the smartest move, but so you know how at the end of the year, you have some wind down time. You're either got a 2-3 weeks before everybody kind of just goes their own way, goes back home.
Well, you still got some school to finish off, right? And
yeah, there's a little bit.
There could be 2 to 3 weeks where you really run amok, right?
Yeah, we're running amok, and so the 3 of us, my 3 roommates. So I had Brent Lovett, Jeff Brzezinski, and Steve Duke. Jeff and Steve both ended up playing pro. Jeff with Cleveland Lumberjacks, and Steve was kind of followed me with into Johnstown and St. John, and went on his way. Brent is a businessman in Minnesota, doing great. So anyway, we were sitting around.
But that's your Daryl, Stretch, and Yachts. Like, I'm just thinking out loud. That's my roommates. I've had them on, and you just listed off your Daryl, Stretch, and Yachts. So I get it. Right. They mean a lot to you. I know
they do. Yeah, they're great
Shout
guys.
Out to you guys.
Yeah, they're my best friends from that era, and so we still meet up to this day. So we were sitting at this bar after that season, and we were and we're sitting at a 3-man table, 4-man table. And there was this sign right beside our table that said "Tough Man Competition, K-Wing Stadium, Saturday, whatever, I forget the date." Or it was Friday night. And they were like, "Tell you what, we'd had a few pops, a few pints," and they were like, "You go in this boxing match. You just got to fight one time. We'll pay for your food and beers for a month." They said a month. I said a month. Okay, so that sold me on it. So.
The free food and beer for a month when you're turning
in college. Yeah. And I'm 2 weeks away from signing a contract in the NHL. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take this to get me through. So anyway, they ended up signing me up. Jeff became my manager, and then Brendan Kenny came in with Carlin Nordstrom. Carlin Nordstrom became my trainer. Brendan Kenny became my manager. And so I ended up meeting, like, Carlin Nordstrom fought. He was with Ottawa Senators. He pulled me down into his basement and made me spar against the wall and against the.
Before the Tough Man competition, how long did you have to prepare?
One day. It was a Thursday night. He called me down Thursday night, brought me down to his basement and said, "Hey."
So you had some training. You sign up and you got one day to get ready. So you get some training going with
Nordy,
the heavy.
Yeah, Nordy was like, "You got to lead left, right," about it one day. So anyway, so the next day comes Friday, and I wake up Friday morning, and I'm kind of regretting this whole decision to do this. But anyway, I'm in on it. So. And it's on the radio all day. We're hearing it. Yeah, K-Wing Stadium, Tough Man competition, the 50 toughest guys in the in the state coming or whatever.
What is a Tough Man competition? Is it one?
It's a
one
bunch
fight
of,
each.
No, you fight.
It's a tournament.
Going
tournament, but it's
you
barroom
win, you
brawlers.
Keep going.
Yeah.
He
was supposed to fight a big boy.
We'll get to that. Waldo's will come into that right after. We'll get back to Waldo's. Anyway, so 5 o'clock shows up, and I'm supposed to report into this K-Wing Stadium, and so my whole entourage is behind me. We walk in, and I got.
You're talking Kenner's one of them.
Kenner's one of them. I got Brzezinski, Kenny, my whole crew. And they lead me in and they go, all right, we'll be up there in the stands waiting for you. Jeff and them, they'll be in your ring and be behind you. I think Kenny was behind me as well in my ring. And so they said, you got to go to the locker room where all the fighters are and report and sign in. So they gave me this Canadian flag to put over my shoulder for when I come out, and I'm going to be waving this thing up in the air.
In Kalamazoo, Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah. This is way down in the depths of the arena. So I walk into the dressing room, and there's no word of a lie. Some guy's in the shower, punching the side of the wall in the shower going, I'm going to kill everybody. And I got my Walkman on. This is how long ago this was.
Tape, and, the cassette player.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Listening to Eye of the Tiger. I'm like, this is going to be all right. And then I pan around the room, and there's just, these guys are massive meatheads everywhere. And then I look over, and there's one guy sitting over there, and I go, I might be able to take him. So how it worked was you could hear the announcer outside in the ring, and he would call two fighters out. He'd call their name or whatever. And I went by Swervin' Irving. That was my fighting name. So my name just kept not getting called, and these two guys would go out, and you'd hear the crowd cheer, and you'd hear oh my God, and people, and they would cart a guy back into the locker room, and he'd be all bleeding and messed up. And it just kept on going, and these guys, and I was like, oh my God, thank God that guy's going out fighting, not me. And finally, I was like the second to last fight, and I ended up getting called. They're like, Swervin' Irving. So I grab my flag and I head out there, and the fans are cheering, and I can hear all the boys in the section. We had like 100 people there, and they're all cheering for me. And I get in the ring.
Think that would be the funnest thing ever, to see one of my Broncos fight in a tough hand competition. I would love that. It would never be me, but I would love that.
Yeah, and people recognize me because I played for Western for a long time, so they're kind of shocked, I think. So anyway, and I'm sitting out in the ring, and I'm waiting for who it's going to be. And I knew there was two guys. There was the guy that I knew I could beat, and there was one other guy that looked like a psycho. So I ended up getting the guy that I knew I could beat. And so I had a little
and I saw the tussle. YouTube highlights, folks. They were swinging from the hips. There wasn't much technique there. You guys were throwing for the knockout.
That's right. And I never realized how tiring boxing is, but oh boy, you start throwing your
fighting is. I couldn't believe how long you guys were fighting and how hard you were punching.
Yeah,
I can't believe that homeless guy you fought with did so well.
Yeah, so it ended up so we won the first fight. So the next night, so they're like, okay, so there was 50 fighters. I'm down to the top 25 now. And now
it's the next night. You have to go to sleep then and do it the next day?
No, but I told the boys I'm out. That's right. It was one fight. I've won. We're done, right? So I'm at Waldo's with all the boys, and it's Saturday night, and they're calling Rosinski saying, hey, your boy needs to be here. He's fighting in like an hour. And Rosinski's going, I don't think he's coming. Because I was over in the corner like this.
With a full pitcher.
A full pitcher. Yeah, so we ended up backing out of it the second night. I would have got knocked out.
You don't need to do that, right? You're close to signing a deal. So this is a different shed trip than normal because Elkie set it up, but from what I understand is you're just gonna watch in the corner. Is that right?
I'm just here to chill with him. Yeah, we're just.
I don't mean to be taking up all the.
No. He's got some good stories. You want to hear this, and he's big over in Europe, anyways. Too. You'll like it. Yeah. I got some good stories for about later though too. Yeah.
Okay. Well. I get into how we know each other still. Elkie, my son was in your hockey camp thing there just recently.
Yeah, he did really good. He's gonna have a good year, I think.
Yeah, he's looking all right. Yeah, he's doing okay. They got their first tournament. They leave tomorrow. So, folks, that's why I really buckled down today. After today, I'm taking some time off, and we're going to Tilsonburg for his first tournament of the year, and I can't wait to watch. And I just drove the fellas back from practice, and they were talking about what they're packing, and it was hilarious. All they got to pack is a mini stick, a bathing suit, some clothes, and their hockey stuff. That's it.
Perfect. Daddy's got the rest. Yeah.
Yeah. A
You got
pack and a
what-
cooler. I know that.
Yeah, I know what it's going to be in there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it should be fun though. We got 2 Kincardine teams, same hotel, under 11s and other 13s. We are gonna run amok that hotel, I think.
Oh yeah. You guys
Yeah.
will be hurting. Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce County hits the town. You never know what could happen, right?
Oh yeah. Especially that many parents. Yeah.
Okay. Getting into how we not know each other though is when we talk about Kalamazoo K-Wings Stadium, is you said you played with my coaches. I went and watched Chris Brooks play for the Kalamazoo K-Wings when he was my coach at Western Michigan. He came out of retirement as our coach to play for the K-Wings.
I believe it.
He didn't get it out of his system, man. You should have seen him in practice. Every 2-on-1 drill, trying harder than everybody.
Yeah. So I actually ended up playing for Chris Brooks in Rio Grande Valley too. So he was my coach.
He tried to recruit me that year. We were almost
Really?
teammates. Well, not
Oh,
almost, but he
you
tried.
You should have signed that up. It was, you know. So yeah. So and Brooksy's practices were pretty intense as far as him being very intense. And yeah, so when we
Probably high tempo, because he's high tempo, man.
Yeah, very involved in them too. He loved being in the drills, so he basically skate them all as well. So yeah, no, that was totally Brooksy, so for sure. Yeah.
I remember, you imagine your college coach coming out of retirement to play for the K-Wings and the boys all going to watch him. It's not as cool as watching a guy in the Tough Man though.
Oh no, Brooksy was a great player, and he could sure score in tight. So yeah, he beat people with his work ethic for sure.
So where and what are you doing now?
So I'm living in Bakersfield, California. I have a family, my wife Monica, and I have 3 kids, Hannah, Emerson, and Noah. So I'm a project manager for irrigation projects and basically sales project manager. I travel quite a bit, going all over the world, mostly. And what we do is we manufacture a machine that removes algae and moss out of canals and protects pumps, so that irrigation pivots and so forth don't become plugged up. Also do like cooling towers and power plants and so forth. So basically wherever there's
and
shit
you're
in
the
water, we
project
remove-
manager, so you know how to do all the stuff. So then you've been into this for a while.
Yep. So I've been doing this ever since I quit hockey. So I basically sell the project and then oversee it as it's being manufactured. And then I go out and install it as well. So
how'd you get into that out of hockey?
So I married my wife here, and that was through her family. So, and then I jumped into the family business. So
Well played.
I thought he was just selling water slides.
yeah, because I didn't have a clue what I was going to do.
Yeah, most hockey guys don't. Well played. Layup. I think they call that a layup in the transition.
100%. I was at a family barbecue and it got laid up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they're like, you need something to do.
So yeah, the research team was wondering about Bakersfield. You got traded there to South Carolina. Another way we know each other is you've won a championship with the same guy I have. You won the Kelly Cup with Greg Schmidt. I won in the 2nd league in Germany with.
No way. Schmitty. I love Schmitty. So
Schmitty's
Schmitty was
awesome.
my, yeah. so
Schmitty
he
was
my-
episode 3. You know that?
No
he was one of my
way.
first guys ever.
I'll reel it back and make sure I watch it or listen to that one and watch it. So Schmitty was my line mate when we won the Kelly Cup. So he was my centerman. Yeah. So tough little player.
Tough little
good
player, southpaw, throw the lefties,
Yeah.
could score, pass. Yeah, does it all, right?
Yeah, good Saskatchewan boy too. So
Whoa, Saskatchewan.
So when you grow up in Saskatchewan, did you ever think you're going to end up in Bakersfield, California? There's hockey
Not really.
players scattered all over the world, I tell you.
Yeah.
There's a lot here though that stayed here.
Yeah.
I met a couple there. Nice.
So we have about 20 guys here that are from Canada that have married girls from Bakersfield that live here now. So our
And
actual rec
So
hockey team-
Bakersfield has had a team in the Central League, the Coast, and now the A.
So they were the Western Professional League, where they were the Bakersfield Fog, and then they became the Bakersfield Condors in the East Coast League, and now they're the AHL affiliate of Edmonton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
'Cause you-
So they've been going for quite a while. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Your last game was the Arizona Sundogs 2010-11 then, eh?
Hey, let me reel you back to South Carolina too. Got a little tidbit there. So when
Get
I ended
into
up
it.
getting traded to Bakersfield, I got Jared Bednar, who's the coach of Colorado right now, and
Yep.
Jason Fitzsimmons, who was actually from my hometown. They traded me to Bakersfield. So my own my own family friend from Lumsden, Saskatchewan, that I grew up with, I was his stick boy at their games. He traded me. They called me in and go, Irvs, you're going to Bakersfield. I'm like, all right, pack it up.
And then you met
So
your wife there.
that's where I met my wife. So I was pretty upset that I got traded all the way across the country.
I
And,
hear South
but
Carolina was pretty nice though, right?
it was good. Yeah,
I
it was
I
really
played one game there in the coast with the Daytona Beach Bombers of Ohio.
good.
And I thought I couldn't believe people got to live in South Carolina and play hockey there, right? It wasn't
was-
like Daytona Beach, Ohio.
Yeah, no, it was. I love that name, by the way, but it was a great spot. And when you win a championship there too, it was pretty special. And so it was the golf and the guys and the town, the city, the fans, everybody was awesome there. So
And you
I
guys
miss
have
that
like
place.
reunions and stuff, right? Have you been to any of those?
So I haven't been back too much, but I keep in touch with pretty much everybody on that team. So
The guys
yeah,
you win with, you keep in touch with, right?
that's right. They're all.
So where
pretty
did you
special.
two play together?
Odessa.
Oh, the Jackalopes.
We played in Odessa the first for like when I was, I don't know, 24. He came in, and then we didn't see each other for, I don't know, he was gone somewhere else, and then we ended up in Youngstown my last year, or our last year before it folded. He was the one that when I took that big head injury and got bleeding my brain,
Yeah.
he was the one that seen it. Like he came around the net and he was banging on the glass because he knew I was out cold, and he's the one that seen it. He was like waving everyone out. It was, well, he said it was one of the scariest things he's seen because he got to look at it firsthand. He just see me doing the old fucking hands up like this.
Yeah, it was pretty
Ah.
scary. Moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah, that's not fun to see shit like that. Not to your
No.
friends, not to anybody,
No,
really, but
not to any teammate. No,
No.
but
Mm.
yeah, but it was, but when he was coming to Youngstown, our coach Killers, like, you know Irving? I'm like, oh yeah. He said, yeah, great player, but also great room guy. He goes, oh yeah, I know. I was his roommate too.
yeah, Killer. I was roommates with Killer when I played in Orlando. So and yeah, so that was kind of how that all tied in. But Youngstown, Ohio, the year that I played with Elke was probably the one of the most epic road trips that a minor league team has ever had.
I like where this is going. Go for it.
So to start off our season, so if you're a kid out there playing hockey and you're going pro and you ever want to know whether or not you're buried completely in the minors, this might be when you find out. Your coach's name's Killer. You're getting on a bone shaker for a 30-day road trip from Youngstown, Ohio to Laredo, Texas.
Yeah.
So open up your
30
map.
day-
Open up your map if you're having a trouble figuring out how long that's going to be. Anyway, on this road trip, we had to play 15 games in 30 days. So we're on this road trip. We get on this bone shaker, and I'm like, we all got on the bus. We're like, this thing, it's not making it. It's not making it. It was rough. Anyway, so the first thing that happened was Elke and Dooley on the bus, where Curtis Dooley, they're all playing cards back there, and all of a sudden we hear trailer's gone. And I guess they were looking out the window, and our bus was continuing on, and our trailer with all our hockey equipment and our hockey bags was taking the exit 21 going up into, and the boys just saw it just doing tumblers into the rhubarb into the thing. So we ended up having to pull the bus over, and this guy came with a welding machine and welded this trailer back on, and we threw the hockey bags back in this trailer, and we continued on. So then we got to the arena to play that first game, and guys were getting their helmets on, and their helmets were all like, the foam was all banged up in their visors were all scratched, and you know, nothing was fitting properly. So it was that was a rough start, and then we ended up
Is this a sleeper bus?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And those are the ones you can't even you don't even get to stand up really. You just kind of lay there for 30 days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We had a good, the back room was a good card table, but other than that,
The fart pit with all the rookies.
Yeah. Well,
Soggy subs. That's
Yeah.
what it smelled like. It
Oh,
smelled like soggy subs and
yeah.
like just like stale beer from the. So we ended up winning like
it was 13-1-1.
we were 13-1-1 on this road trip, and we even got into Laredo, and our bus drove into this awning underneath this hotel or down this tight street. So we were delay after delay on this trip. So it ended up we ended up getting home, but I don't remember any of the other.
That awning though. So it was Irv was on like I was in the bottom bunk, Irv was middle, and then we had this big Russian 6'7" guy in the top bunk. We hit the awning and it came right through, and it was like really like we're in our bunks and it was right over top of us
Through the bus.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You look up and the Pepsi machine's down on us. I'm like, oh, we're fucked. Yeah. So we had to get off the bus and walk to the hotel
Yeah.
like at night in Laredo, but it was that's what you
Well,
know.
have you ever played down in that area where you have to go
No.
from like Laredo to
No,
cross the
I
Rio
never,
Grande?
I literally have never been out to California, Texas, any of that way. Like the only time I was in North America was Western Michigan, and then 1 year with
Yeah.
Daytona Beach, Ohio, and then like
Overseas.
Syracuse, New York, where like the games I did get to participate in road games weren't very far away from Syracuse. So
Yeah. Well, down there, so when you're traveling from like basically city to city too, you're basically traveling along the border of the United States and Mexico border. So they have these stops too. So we're in this bus too. So we get pulled over by this border patrol station or whatever. We have to, dogs come out and they're all barking at us. And so we have to all get off this bus and get brought into their facility to show them our passports and our, everything that we have, IDs and everything. So they're all like one by one checking us off, and you get to go back into the bus or whatever. So, and guys are getting nervous because their names aren't getting called. They're sitting in like basically like a cell waiting for them to get back on. So, and we're just like, this is just kind of the stuff that was going on. But I was like second last, and I get out and the dogs are barking. I got nothing on me, but and it's like, let's just get out of here and like go. It's like one thing after another on this trip. So that was just kind of the stuff we were dealing with on the trip. So.
oh, I know I dealt with East Coast stuff though, right? Like our buses would break down side of the road, and like, you hang out there till the fan bus picks you up, and then all of a sudden you're on the fan bus to the next road game, and wild times.
Yeah, I know. I actually got left by in South Carolina. I got left at a gas station too, and the bus took off without me, and I had to get a ride with a bunch of boosters. So that was the
Boosters,
worst.
that's what they're called. Yeah,
That was the worst trip of my life.
Okay, so I got a question then. So you're growing up, and how'd you get it? Everybody in Lumsden, Saskatchewan's into hockey then, eh?
Yeah, so I followed my brothers, and I grew up on a family farm there, and we had a pond just right in our farm that we could just skate on nonstop. And I was the youngest in the family, so I followed my brothers and everybody, all his friends, and and then.
So did you play small town minor hockey growing up, and then eventually go to AAA?
Yeah, and then I got recruited to. Actually, I just went to a tryout for the midget AAA in Regina, Saskatchewan, where they had the Regina Pack Canadians, and I ended up just making the team out of nowhere. So I ended up going to school in Lumsden, driving into Regina every day, which was about an hour each way. So yeah, and the bus used to pick me up on the side of a highway, and on the way to games and stuff, I'd be out there with my stick minus 40 degrees. They'd pick me up.
So you must have had a good team though, because it says you went to like the Air Canada Cup. What's that? The all finals of Canada?
Yeah, so that's the national championship for midget AAA in Canada. So it's pretty good hockey by the time you get to the Air, because in the semifinals we beat Daniel Briere.
And that's one of the poster picks where you're on top of the podium.
He ran the show.
We ran the show.
And he's in second place, just licking his wounds, eh?
Yeah. So, well, actually, he's in third place because we ended up going to the final against Red Deer Chiefs, who had their goalie was Chris Mason, who played for Nashville Predators, and then Shane Willis played for the Carolina Hurricanes for quite a few years too. Those two guys were on that team. We ended up just squeaking by that, and I scored in double overtime on Chris Mason.
You scored the goal to win it.
Yeah. So on TSN. So the backstory on that one too is like they pulled me over, interviewed me, gave me a nice watch and rollerblades and a bunch of stuff on national TV. Never got it.
They
Just
they
vanished.
they showed it to you, and then you never
Never
actually
got
got
it.
to keep it.
Never got it. Vanished.
Huh.
So anyway, so if you hear TSN's listening to this, maybe they can
Yeah, fess up.
fess up. I just want an apology.
So when do you get recruited to Western then?
So that year,
then hold on. I got one more question then. Okay.
yeah.
You're big, you're tall, and I don't know about your speed, but I've seen you box, so you can throw them from the hips. So I'm curious why you're not going major junior, because like Saskatchewan boys, like it was NCAA a normal thing for a big power forward that I'm guessing you are.
Yeah, so I was listed by Victoria. They used to be listed by players. I don't know how that all works now. If you get
There's a
I think
draft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be you could get listed. So I went to some camp. I had nothing on the go when but I went to this camp and I had a really good camp in the middle of Saskatchewan. I got listed by Victoria Cougars. They were the last place team in the WHL, and they were trying to get me to lose my eligibility and come play there. And I was like, nah, that's not a good idea for me to go to a last place team in the WHL. And I heard their schedule and their travel was terrible. And I had pretty much like 50 schools that were interested in.
Is that right? So it was
Yeah.
normal for like players to be going NCAA then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And not too much out of midget AAA though. Most of them were getting it out of the junior league in Saskatchewan.
Right. Like you went straight from midget AAA to NCAA. That's wild.
That was a big jump. And I got drafted right out of midget AAA too, which doesn't happen.
That was when you got drafted to Montreal.
Yeah. So out of midget AAA right in that. Yeah. So so that was a big jump to Western Michigan from there. So, but I knew that I wanted to go to school. My parents were pushing me to go to school. We're a family that was like, let's get our education. I'm glad I went that way.
I understand. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then when you get to Western Michigan, you move into the Burnhams?
I do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do.
So I pull in and I meet my roommate, Brent Lovett. And he called me like a week ahead. He's like, hey, you got a TV or what do you got? I showed up with it. It was a trunk. And basically it had in a little box TV or whatever. So we sat on this trunk, not a couch, just like a trunk for basically the whole season and just watched. Basically like Elkie and I are right
You didn't have a couch?
We didn't have a couch. This is basically what we look like watching TV.
Just roughing it. Yeah.
Well, there's some wild stuff that would happen to those Burnhams over the years. You know?
Yeah, there's a lot of stories in that place. So
when you went there, then was it the female sports on the other side of the hallway?
Everybody was all scattered. Like we were basically all joined up everywhere. Like your roommate.
Well, so like for us, it was like the hockey guys and the soccer guys and like athletes. The guys are on one side of the building, and then there's just a swinging door to like the soccer girls, the gymnastics, the volleyball, and like there was a lot of intersport breeding for the fellas.
Community showers, community bathroom for sure. Yeah. No, it was. Yeah, it was quite the setup. Yeah. So anyway, did you ever get pantsed in the cafeteria when you were carrying your tray to your table, where somebody would pull your pants down though, and you have to drop your tray? Or
that was not a thing. That was not a thing when I was at school.
That was every day. That was every day when we were there. Somebody would.
The guys would pull your pants down
while you're holding your tray of food. Yes.
See, now you can't do anything.
No, that was a different time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Good times. Okay, so then let's see here. What was your favorite bar at Western Michigan University? Was there a tap room when you were there?
Yes. So Waldo's, and then there used to be a place called Keggers. Now, Keggers was more of like a nightclub, and it was more downtown. But as I was training, remember, if we backtrack to the story of how Bronco Bob was training me for the first year there. So he would show up to Keggers and I would be out there on the dance floor, doing my thing or whatever. And then he'd see a few more guys there or whatever. He used to make us do push-ups and sit-ups on the dance floor. You saw us. So it was out of control. So yeah, we were trying to avoid Bronco Bob at all times, but he was out he was out and about.
And he'd
somewhere.
find you.
Oh, he'd find you, and he would make sure that he put you through a workout routine at the club.
We did that ourselves. So there's a couple times we went out as a team and did like a dynamic warm up on the dance floor.
Oh yeah, yeah. It got like that. It got worse.
Okay. So your last year, you guys were brutal. What were the other years like? Were you ever good?
Pretty good. So the first year we ended up going pretty far, and then we ended up losing to Marty St. Louis team in
Vermont.
in Vermont. Yeah, so we got quite a ways. That second year we were pretty good. Like we had guys like Joe Corvo start coming in, and Daryl Andrews.
Daryl Andrews, you know him.
Yeah.
I have a gold helmet with him. The one right there, over there. Daryl and I won that in Sundaruski.
Yeah, Donkey was great. So
I called him Shrek. You called him Donkey, eh?
Donkey. He's got a few nicknames, but yeah, great guy. Yeah, and we had great.
You know he's
recruiting.
gonna be a dad.
Congratulations. I have not talked to him. So I used to go up to Calgary when I used to work up there, and I would meet with him we usually go to the casino or something and hang out, have a few beers. And he just started a new job up there. I didn't know that he had got that far. So that's awesome.
No, seriously. For our relationship is like, we played together, win it. We don't talk for like a year or two. And then it's turned into like every 4 to 6 months. All of a sudden, one of us sends the other one funny pictures, and then we go back and forth for like 2 days, and then we stop again for like 5 months. Yeah,
that's awesome. I usually find him at the Calgary Stampede on a random, like I go maybe once every 8 years, and then I'll see him in a cowboy hat just standing there looking great.
The dog.
He's looking great.
I heard he played a lot of Tetris on the bus in college. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's true, but you had your Walkman on. You probably didn't know. So, what else do I got? So there's another guy I've lived with that you played with. Okay.
Yeah.
He came back. He was playing pro, and I'm living with the seniors when I'm a freshman, and it was Corey Waring.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
Worm,
Cool.
they called him.
Yeah. So actually one of my it's not the greatest memory was Corey Waring. So I lived on Wallwood Road. I don't know if you guys heard, we used to call it Wally World. It's right behind the football stadium. We had a house.
So you were over there, because I heard you guys used to live like by the student ghetto, right?
Yep, student ghetto right behind the football stadium. And then we originally bought the house there, and then Wilkie Coach Wilkinson's family bought that house later on and gave it to his kid. And there was a bunch of stuff happened there over there, and it ended up getting crazy times. But anyway, at that house, Corey Waring he actually had a really bad seizure one time at our house there. So yeah, it was concerning at that time. But no, he was a great kid, really fast hockey player.
I never saw him play. He was just, that summer, he was very tanned. He would go to a lot of tanning beds.
Yeah. Yes, I remember
Looked
that.
like
as
dried
well.
beef jerky.
Yeah, he did he was very tanned. Looked good though. Yeah.
He was a good looking kid.
I think he's from Bradford, actually. But
Man Rocket.
Man Rocket. Yeah. So who were the coaches while you were there?
So I had Bill Wilkinson, and then Schaefer, who's now the coach of Cornell, head coach.
And he has been forever since I played.
Yeah. And then Scott Garrow was the assistant. And then I went to
Scott Garrow was an assistant when I started, right? My freshman years with G.
Okay.
And Brooksy, and then Kenner comes in.
Yeah. And then Jim Culhane was always the assistant. So I had Bill Wilkinson for all 4 years, and Jim Culhane was the assistant. And then we also had Bill Watson, who was the Hobie Baker winner from Minnesota Duluth. He was there for a year.
Okay. I don't know him.
Yeah.
Mooch. Good nickname.
Yeah. He was a sick hockey player. Very good.
So do you have any, well, if he's a Hobie Baker winner, he should be somewhat pretty good.
Yeah.
What are your most memorable college nights? Anything stick out? There's like a Halloween party that sticks out for me.
So I used to, oh yeah. So I used to have this, my parents gave me this Aerostar van. It was an Aerostar van. It had, so brought
I had
this
a
thing out.
Chrysler Intrepid.
So I know some of the cars that were down there were unbelievable.
I switched
So-
the Chrysler Intrepid for Shaky, which was my old granddad that the fellas loved to get to a certain point, and then she starts shaking. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
we had a guy, we had the Aerostar van, we had a little little sports car, one of the guys, and then we had a Jeep, and then my other roommate, Steve, he had a scooter. Just a helmet and a scooter. That was all he did. He went to, it didn't matter what kind of weather, he would just ride.
A motorized
One-
scooter he's cruising
Yeah.
around Kalamazoo
Yep.
with.
Oh yeah, one day the cops pulled up to the front door and dropped him off. He just had his helmet on in the back of the cop car. They were like, "You're gonna have to go pick up your scooter." I guess he parked it illegally or something. Like, it was a mess. Like, don't you get a scooter so you don't have to park? Parking's easier.
I
Anyway,
tell you, Western Michigan has some tight parking rules, man. I got some tickets over the years.
Yeah, parking's tough there.
Yeah.
We used to be upstairs, like, how it got wintry, and I'm kind of getting off track here, but it got wintry and icy.
Getting off track
and
is
kind
what
of-
it's all about.
We're upstairs, sitting in the top of our house, and we're all kind of talking in one of the rooms up there. We look out the window, and our house was kind of on a slant, or the driveway, and we just see my buddy's car just sliding down on its own down the road, down the road. He's looking at his cars just shooting down the ice down there. Anyway, so we used to throw some parties over there at Wallwood Place or Wally World, whatever we called, and we ended up having our rookie party there the one year, and so we got a bunch of kegs and had it all set. And we were charging people at the door and doing. I mean, I don't know what the laws and rules were at this time, but we were making money, paying for our rent for the next 2 months. Anyway, and we were doing the rookie party. Anyway, about midnight, car runs out of or the party runs out of beer. They're like, we need more beer or whatever.
So when they're paying to get in, are they paying for
Oh.
beer too?
Oh yeah, $20 a shot. I mean, back then it was $20, and girls were in free or whatever, and whatever.
So you guys had bartenders, the full deal.
Everything. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So yeah, they send somebody in my van, somebody sober in my van to go get kegs, whatever, and they come back and they got 8 kegs in the back of my Aerostar van, and the tires are just flat. so if you ever want to know how many kegs you can get into an Aerostar van,
It's
about 8 or 9. Yeah. So before the tires pop. So anyway, we used to basically go to Waldo's, and then we would have like an after hours, and we'd keep it pretty cool. So
Well, no, being close to Waldo's, you definitely go there more. And that's like, we always heard I guess the fairy tales of Waldo's, right? Like, we wouldn't get to go there during the season or much, because it's Thursday nights was the big night, right? Cheap pitcher night. And that's off season, right? And then that place isn't that close to where we were living. We're over in the new area, the other side of the campus.
Right.
And, it was work to get down to Waldo's, but when you get there, good times.
you're in one.
Yeah.
You're in one.
Full go.
Yeah. Yeah. So we used to have the K-Wings, so they knew that we were going to be having something going on, and they didn't really go to I guess they went to Waldo's a few times, but they had their game on, and we would have our college game on, and then we would get home at after we'd go out to eat, and they would be sitting on our step waiting for us, going,
Oh, I could just imagine K-Wings wanting to be with the college kids again.
Yeah.
God, you get to pro and you're like, what do you do? Like, I went to Daytona Beach, Ohio. It wasn't until after January we figured out Dayton University wasn't that far away.
Well, one night we had Guy Carbonneau in our house. Who was the blonde-haired goalie that they had at the time? He was there, Carbonneau, and then the goalie. He was a famous goalie too. He was an awesome goalie. I think Lee Ginman.
Some of the nights you could have in university just don't make sense, right?
Yeah, no, it all worked great. So
okay. So then, well, let's see. I got another name written down. You played with Jeff Lukasak. He was still kicking around Kalamazoo when I was there.
Oh, no way. Yeah. Yeah. Is he still living there or is he back?
I don't know.
home
He
now?
was back when I was there. I haven't been there in a long
Yeah.
time, but yeah, he was a beauty that lived around town. And like, I think he had like a family and kids and,
That's
we
awesome.
see him out sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Luke, he played on our team for a couple years there. Great, good defenseman. So speedy defenseman, good guy off the ice. So yeah.
Okay. So did you guys do team trips? Did the seniors plan a trip for the team and then take the team for a trip at the start of the season, that first month? Is that
No,
fair?
not really. No. We probably
I don't know when
changed
that
it.
started, but we did it. Our seniors did that for us and we did it for our freshies. And
Yeah.
man, what a time.
Wow. Yeah, no, that'd be a good idea. The only trip I ever really took outside of the campus was to we loaded up my Aerostar van again. We put a
Sounds like-
PlayStation TV in there, and we did a road trip to the Toronto Maple Leafs game all the way from Kalamazoo and went to the Leafs game and came back. So that was
Really?
it was
That's where-
interesting. Yeah.
We went to the Maple Syrup Festival in Elmira and back. Seriously.
And I yeah,
Whole
and,
bunch
and
of them.
whoever was
We went to Elmira and ran a buck too.
oh, anybody who was driving my Aerostar over 65 miles an hour too, I was yelling at them the entire way because it started to shake. So the guys would drive it on purpose faster than I wanted. So it was
Yeah, as long as you didn't have to drive.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're leaving the Broncos after their worst season ever. So thank you for doing that. So I don't have to
Yeah, it
feel
was
as bad now. Thank you.
my record.
So what are your pro options then? Because you're drafted 6th round. Do they try to sign you? You get in the tough bag competition? Like what goes on here?
Okay, so Rajon Houle, the Montreal Canadiens guy that he used to come to every game basically in Western Michigan, and I'd come out of the locker room and he would in French tell me blah 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 on the wall what I'm not doing, what I'm not doing.
Is that
And
right?
then
Because
yeah,
the guys that were drafted when I was at Western Michigan, I
Yeah.
didn't see a lot of communication between them and their teams at all.
they were very hands on, and I don't know if it was good. So I can't.
Too handsy, eh?
Yeah, it was just after every game out in the lobby, and like never really understood what he was ever really saying because it was
Yeah,
it
that's
was
not really
very
that
French,
good of a.
broken English, and I didn't really understand, like, and I was just like ready to get out of there.
Yeah.
But which long story short too, about you fast forward about 20 years. So my daughter just went with his grandson to prom in Bakersfield. So Rajon Houle's grandson to prom because JF Houle ended up being the coach of Bakersfield. So they moved here. So that was kind of a
Isn't that a small world?
small world. So
And
yeah.
that is the guy that was talking to you outside the locker room.
Yeah, so his grandson ended up, his son and then his grandson, they were all in Bakersfield, and my daughter Hannah knows them and all that stuff. So
Bizarre.
and I used to tell his grandson too. I was like, I didn't know a thing your grandpa was telling me.
Whatever he was trying to say, I wasn't listening.
So long. And anyway, so let's rewind again. So Montreal ended up, they wanted to bring me to training camp, and then they were going to sign me according to how my training camp went. So I ended up grabbing an agent.
That's
Kurt,
old school.
Yeah, his name. Yeah, so his name was Kurt Overhart. I used to call him Kurt Overcharge. Anyway, he told me not a good idea. So they ended up. I didn't go to Montreal, or agree to go to Montreal camp. So they basically dropped me, like
So you're like a holdout.
Yeah,
And
kinda
they're
at that
like,
point.
you're a 6th rounder.
So I ended up going to Canadian national team tryout in Calgary and had a really good camp. And Al Coates, the GM at the time, walked in and saw me play for what he said was 20 minutes. So saw me and signed me to an NHL contract. So I had it
You signed with
in Calgary. Yeah,
how many year deal is that?
I got a 2-year deal, AHL and NHL. But I
And
got
that was
shipped
while
to
you're trying out for the Team Canada team that would travel around and play all over.
Yeah. So I'd made that team, but Calgary came in with a contract for me. So I went with the NHL contract. So
And then you're in an NHL training camp for the first time then?
yeah. So then that following fall, then I went to Calgary's training camp. Yeah. And
Who's the stars on that team back then?
So there was Theron Fleury, Jerome McGinley was up and coming. I fought Jason Weimer, center ice at Saddle Dome, kicked my ass. And then I don't know. There
Was it your technical side of the
I'm
boxing?
sure yeah.
Because there wasn't much technique there in that
No,
YouTube
I'm sure
video.
he did a lot of video on me before that fight.
There was a lot of swinging from the hips.
And he had me.
There's a few holes.
Yeah, he knew exactly how he was going to beat me before I ever got on that ice. So, no, I went 2 years to
You know what's
training camp
funny
in
is this is
Calgary.
my second time in the shed today, and this is the second time Theory and Flurries came up in one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Because
yeah,
the last guy is the equipment manager for Belfast, and Theo played there after, right?
yeah, that's right. He did. Yeah. Yeah. Theo would show up at training camp. Like we'd all be stretching in the locker room and he'd show up with a coffee and a donut, just roll it in like late, go into the training room, just like nothing. Yeah. And then just go out there. And so I remember still to this day, my first, we were doing a 2-on-1 drill and I was kind of lined up with Theo. I was kind of like, oh man, I looked across and yeah, I'm going to be going with Theo. This is big time. And I remember he came over to me. He's like, just pass the puck to me, go to the net, pass the puck, go to the net. Like, and I go, got it. Got it. So I just ripped it across to Theo and just went and stopped in front of the net. He just shot it, never touched the puck. So this went on every time I went with Theo. So
He wouldn't pass it over though for the tapping. Never did get the slide
once.
over.
Pass, shot, go to the net. Robot.
Hey, rebounds are there, right?
Yeah, I did my job according to Theo though. Yeah.
So then you go to that training camp. Do you play any exhibition games or anything?
So I did, yeah. So I played 2 exhibition games. Basically did one in Red Deer against Edmonton. Yeah. And then one in, actually, I think they were both in Red Deer.
So you end
yeah.
up most of that season with the Johnstown Chiefs though. So
Yeah.
speaking of poster pictures, the poster picture with you with the Hanson brothers, that was a cool photo.
Yeah. So yeah, I got shipped down to Johnstown. So that was a little bit shocking to go down there, but in the end, it was okay. Yeah. And speaking of the Hanson brothers, they used to come and do their little show at the arena where you had to pretend like you got high stick by them and get cross-checked and fall on the ice and do that whole deal. But yeah, they used to come into the locker room all the time, do their little thing, and then after the game they'd come in and have some pints with us and hang out. And they were real cool guys, and a lot of them did the minor hockey in Johnstown and ran it. So you would
Is
just
that
look
right?
out, and one of the Hanson brothers is out running drills with the boys,
They came in
the kids. Yeah.
They came in Youngstown.
Yeah.
For a night.
Oh yeah. And then they followed us too.
Yeah, they
but-
came into Youngstown because our coach Killer Kaminsky got him in there, and it was like same thing. You start the game, they're on the first line against the other team, and they go run the goalie, come by, punch her in the head on the other team. It's a good show. It's a good act. Everyone loves it.
Yeah, fans love it.
It sounds
Cool.
awesome.
And then they come in the room before the game. They're like, do the old stick them, fuck
Yeah.
them, fight them, all that.
Exactly. Make them bleed.
Yeah.
No,
It's
that's a cool photo to have for a poster picture though. Like that's awesome. I remember playing in Johnstown and seeing the arena, and then you see the hallway where like literally you're going from the locker room to the arena and there are fans like right there.
I coached one exhibition game for Youngstown, me and another guy, because our coach sat in the stands, and that's the first time I went to Johnstown, and I was walking out and I had fans, because their fans are crazy, just screaming at me, and I was just wearing a suit walking out to the bench, and they're just calling you everything what they can, right? And they're like, it's like,
Yeah.
it was scary, but I was like, what's going on here? Like, I've never been here. This is like,
Yeah.
it's
They're into it.
Retarded. Oh yeah,
We lose 5-1 and there's a brawl or a fight. They're the happiest people going on.
What do you think, Elkie? Is it going to be just like it when you're the Ripley Wolves coach heading to play the Durham Thundercats? The hallways of that arena can get pretty heated too.
Oh yeah, a lot of redheads running around.
While they're trying to get to the beer gardens, right? And then we're trying to get to the locker room. They want a beer, we want to sit down.
Yeah. Having trouble breathing.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No,
I used to get called up that year to St. John up and down that year. So, and then Grant Fuhrer was getting sent down from Calgary because he had a rehabilitation on his knee. So Grant was like basically living across the hallway in the hotel. I don't know if you've been in St. John, but their hotel is connected to the Harbor Station Arena. And there's all kinds of restaurants and bars on the way from the hotel to the arena. And Grant was in one room by himself, and then Derek Walzer and I, who'd been called up from Johnstown, were staying together. Yeah. So Grant would our phone would ring. It was back when he had that, and Walzer and I'd be sitting in our underwear watching TV or whatever, and Grant would be like, "Hey, you guys want to go for some chicken wings down at Rockies?" And we'd be like, "Okay." Well, we'd pull on our pants and our sweatsuits or whatever and go down and sit with Grant at Rockies, and he would just sign autographs. Like, people wouldn't leave him alone, and Walzer and I just sat there and ate chicken wings. And then we'd just go home. We'd be like,
it is interesting, right? When those guys get so famous that like they literally can't even go out for chicken wings without people bugging them, right?
And he was so nice to everybody. Yeah.
I know, but like every day for it to be like that,
I know. Yeah, it's got to be tough.
It'd be weird, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. But so Johnstown as a whole, like, so they'd sign you to the 2-year deal. You're right, though. You probably would have been a bit surprised when you get sent down to Johnstown.
Yeah, and you made you think that maybe they were signing some guys to get sent down, like Jody Shelley was on my team. John Tripp. There was probably 6 or 7 NHL contracts on there. Tyrone Garner.
John Tripp was, I know him. He was in Germany, like played for the German national team forever.
Yeah.
Michigan. Played Michigan.
Yeah.
Jeepers. This hockey world, it's just getting smaller and smaller the more I talk.
Yeah. That guy was a beauty, John Tripp. I love that guy, but man, he's refused more send downs than anybody. He said, "I'm not going." Is
that right?
I think that's how he made the NHL. He's just said, "I'm not going down."
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know, but he found a way to do it. He made it.
So your rookie year, though, you had 46 points and 112 PIMs. How much are you fighting?
So early on, I was fighting quite a bit. So it started kind of like coming out of college. I had to go to Calgary and had to fight a little bit at camp.
And you wouldn't have done it because in college you don't fight for 4 years.
Just in the ring at K-Wing Stadium.
You fought your last game, didn't you?
Yeah, my last shift, I kicked somebody's ass in Alaska. And here's another whole story on that trip too. So I beat up some guy on my last shift, got kicked out of the game in Alaska, and then on the flight home, we all go to the airport, and my roommate Rosinski again, he ends up wheeling first class tickets for us, changes our tickets. So the coach is Wilkinson's back in coach, and we're up first class, and so he walks through, like we get into our seats first. And he walks by, and we're like kind of like looking out the window, like doing this one. And he walks right by or whatever. So we sat first class all the way back to Kalamazoo. Anyway, so where were we on that?
I don't know. We had a different trip back from Alaska, though. I know that.
Oh, you're talking about fighting
when you fought your last.
Yeah. So then, my last game was a fight.
Did you know that we had a trip back from Alaska? We weren't allowed to talk to each other.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Not one word.
Nothing. Couldn't even look at each other.
Colhane?
Yeah, there's no deck of cards. There's nothing.
It's a long trip.
It's a long trip. It's a long day. And actually, I'm pretty sure it was like my birthday. I'm pretty sure it's November 9th, if folks want to check that out. I remember I was not allowed to talk to my teammates on my birthday. And I was like, this is the worst birthday ever.
That's a long trip. That's a long trip. Oh man, that's tough. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, my last shift was a fight, and then my first shift in the East Coast League was a fight too.
So you got right into it, eh?
Right into it. Well, it all started in camp in Calgary. So I don't know if you know Jared Adams.
I actually think it started in the Tough Man competition, but yes, I do know Jared Adams. Yeah, he was the coach of Cardiff.
Adams. Yeah. So Jared Adams and
why when I talk in my shed does the world just keep getting smaller?
It's gonna get small. Yeah. So Jared Adams and I played midget AAA We were part of that Air Canada Cup championship team in midget AAA. So ended up going full circle. Jared Adams went to Calgary Flames camp that same year that I went, and we're buddies, right? And Rich Preston.
I had that written down. The goddamn research team saw Jared Adams was on your team.
Yeah. So so Rich Preston, who was the coach of Calgary Flames or assistant coach or whatever, he leans between Jared. We're sitting like Elkie and I right here, and he puts his head right behind. He goes, I know you fuckers are buddies, but you guys better start fighting each other and battling each other all the time. And then his head just comes back out and leaves. And then Jared, we look at each other and goes, looks like we're fighting next shift. So Jared Adams and I are buddies. We're out in Calgary Flames camp just beating each other up. So
you guys went from the midget AAA team together to the Calgary Flames training camp together?
Yeah, and then fast forward to Sheffield where we were line mates down the road. We'll get there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. It's such But
so that's that whole way it started. And then I didn't do a whole lot of fighting. Like, I mean, it was part of my game, physical part of my game. I was more try to score goals and get points. But when things had to get going or things had to change, I would, or if I was in a slump, it was a good way to get out of
good team guy.
Yeah, it was still a way to get on the score.
Well, it can also get you a little bit more engaged, right? When you feel like you're on the outside and you're not like into it enough, getting right into it can cause fights sometimes.
Yeah. But it was I also like had an issue with it in South Carolina. So I was getting where I was starting to fight more. One year I had 200 penalty minutes, but they came up with this song when I was in fights. So they came up with this whole idea that I looked like Bo Duke or John Schneider. And they would play the Dukes of Hazzard song every time I got into a fight. So, just the good old boys, never meaning, and the whole crowd would start singing this. And then
while you're fighting.
While I'm fighting. So it became a whole thing in North Charleston Coliseum that they would play this. And then
once it's a thing, you kind of have to fight because the people are wanting it.
It became pressure, and then they ended up like at the end of this, they would put me in the penalty box, and they even had the timekeeper in it where he would slam the door, and the whole crowd would go, "Yeah!" So that was the whole routine every time I got in a fight. So it became kind of like a pressure situation where they were like expecting me to fight, but luckily enough, I was able to get some goals and keep them occupied that way, and they kind of laid off me at the end, but when I got traded from there, it was kind of a relief that it was kind of over, to be honest.
So you were with Johnstown for a year, and then this year 2, you're in the AHL and the IHL, St. John's and Orlando, but then you also get 25 goals again with Johnstown.
Yeah, so I got traded from Calgary to the Atlanta Thrashers. And
is that right when they're starting?
I was part of an NHL trade, and you want to know who I got traded for? Nobody.
Adam Smith, maybe. No.
So I'm on the bus and I'm sleeping under my seat with Johnstown. We're on a road trip, and
did you just say Adam Smith?
Yeah, he signed a 3-way deal. I never knew those were alive, but he signed a 3-way deal with the Thrashers, their AHL team, and the Coast team in Gwinnett. That's what he told us.
Are you talking about Adam Smith, like from
Wyerton?
Yeah.
He signed a 3-way deal.
He just followed the shed today. That's what a small world.
He did.
Oh yeah.
He was on.
No, he did. He liked the Rodney Bauman episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
Smitty was a great player and
he's my age. Yeah. He's 1983. And I played against him in AAA growing up, and then he played in Ottawa with Rodney. I know him.
He played with us in Youngstown. He's like a fucking refrigerator on ice.
Oh yeah. Didn't he run a muck of the senior A league for a while around here?
Oh yeah.
Perfect guy to have on your team.
You imagine working all day and then going to play that fella on a Friday night after work?
I coached against him in the finals when we coached. Me and Paul Cato coached for Ripley. We played in the finals in the Bayshore, but he would do those late hits like 3-4 seconds after, but he'd hit a guy and the guy would land like 6 feet. Like he would just crush the guy.
He's a lefty too.
Yeah, so but he'd crush a guy, and then I'm like, boy, when he's on the ice, just dump it in or make sure you pass the puck and get ready because he's not stopping. When he gets and he's going to run you over. But he's
I
he's
remember playing him
260.
against him. He was like playing for the Grey Bruce Highlanders, and it was
Yeah.
like once it got to hitting, it was like, okay, you need to know where that guy is.
Oh yeah, he's just like he could actually in a straight line he could fly.
Yeah.
And he was tough, like really tough. Yeah.
How do we get into this rabbit hole?
Oh, so we were going to how I got traded to the Atlanta Thrashers. So I was
there
on
you
on the bus sleeping underneath my seat.
Yeah, I've been there. I'd rather sleep on the floor than across.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So down there, I used to get a nice, I was having a nice little nap. And Scott Allen, I'm not sure which NHL team he's coaching with right now, but he was our coach at that time. He was just up and coming coach. So he comes back and he goes, "Hey, come up to the front." And I go, "Oh boy, where am I going?"
Yeah.
So he calls me up and he goes, "You've been traded." And I go, "Okay, well, where am I going?" He goes, "Nowhere. Go back to sleep." And then he told me that I got traded to Atlanta for nothing. I go, "You woke me up for that?" So I got traded, but I ended up just staying in Johnstown. That was part of the deal. So, and then I ended up going up to Orlando after that. Yeah, it was a.
So if
It's a
you got
messy
called
career.
up, you're going to go to their affiliate, not
Thrashers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I ended up going to Orlando at the end of the year. So,
Piss break.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
have
Go
fun,
ahead.
Elkie.
oh,
Jeez,
eh?
that is our trainer in town, folks.
Just crushed a bag of chips.
Yeah, and now he's got to take a piss, drinking too many beers. How are the kids going to be in shape in Bruce County, Elkie?
It
My
was like he just
word.
ran a marathon to go to the bathroom.
Your goal, to win championships, though, in South Carolina, this Jody Lehman fella, he won a lot of championships, eh?
Oh yeah. I used so Jody's another.
Isn't he
great
a Saskatchewan boy, just
Oh,
like
yeah.
Greg Schmidt too, right? North
Yep.
Battleford is
Yeah.
Greg
So
Schmidt.
they're actually really good friends. So so Jody, when I went to Sheffield, Jody was in Coventry, and boy, so we'd won a championship prior, and Jody, oh man, I'd love to score on him when I was over there. It felt good, and he hated it because he hates.
Scoring on your buddies makes it feel like way better, right?
Yeah, and then he played with Adam.
Sorry,
Calder.
Jeff Van Nijenatten, when you played for Niagara, I love scoring on you.
I scored that guy too.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Adam Calder was there with him too in Coventry at the same time.
I got him written down there as Adam Calder was a legend in Coventry, and he's since passed, eh?
Yeah, R.I.P. Yeah, loved Adam and I love Jody. They're all great guys. So and what, like you say, you love those guys that you win championships with. So
you sure do. And then the one other guy that was on that championship team that's just came up recently with Ernie Hartley was Ryan Brindley. I guess he's made a home in the Fort Myers area that just got ransacked, right?
Yep. So Ryan Brindley was another teammate too, and then his kid just actually is playing for University of Michigan.
Oh, really?
Yep. So
is that old?
Yeah, he's like
God.
playing a game right now too, Brindley, and then he's playing with my college roommate that went to Western. Steve Duke's kid plays for University of Michigan too, Dylan Duke.
Folks, I'm starting to think genetics is a thing.
Yeah, and his other kid plays for Ohio State, Tyler Duke. So he's got a kid playing for U of M. So he's going to go to that outdoor game that they're having in Cleveland, which is Michigan against Ohio State. He's going to have a player on each team, a kid on each team. It's a good. So I was like,
this is one of your roommates, is that right?
Yeah, Steve Duke. Yeah,
good sperm.
Yeah,
good. Yeah, raising them upright.
Now let me get into a Steve Duke story too at Western.
Let me guess, Steve Duke. Did you walk down Burnham's hallway and meet another athletic gal? was it intersport breeding again?
No, he married my roommate's sister. So that's that might be a whole nother episode, Wally.
Things can get complicated.
Considering I had to live underneath them in the house. I had to live underneath them in the house in a room below. But, so Steve goes out with my other roommate at Western, and they go skeet shooting. They have this great idea that they're going to go skeet shooting. And Steve holds up his gun like this and puts it down to clean because he had some mud on the end of it, shoots his finger off, pulls the trigger, his
That's
finger
not
completely
funny. I'm
off.
not laughing.
No, we're in mid-season here. And so he goes to the hospital. I show up. He's got a big wrap around his finger at the thing. And the doctor comes in and goes, Steve, we got two options here. You can you can be out for about 3 months and we repair this whole finger and you got your finger back, or we can just chop it off and you're back playing this weekend. He goes, chop it off. So
I knew you were gonna say that too. That's old school hockey right there.
so they chopped the finger off and now he goes around. So he was going around Waldo's just
How
stirring
much
everybody's
did they
drink.
take off?
Oh, it's right up to his knuckle.
Really?
Yeah, so
And
yeah,
only
so he had
did
this
3
thing where
months?
You got a number.
yeah, so he'd go around and stir people's drinks up with it, and people would be like, "Whatever, it's kind of cool."
Nixie fingers.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, with people
Yeah,
have
so anyway,
things
that's-
different with them, it can be funny.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
makes me think of Andrew Coburn that played for the Elmira Sugar Kings.
Yeah.
Played for the Sugar Kings,
Hockey.
chopped his finger off, and he was like, right after I leave and I'm in NCAA, he's like their go-to guy. Chops his finger off playing for them, working during the day or whatever he's doing, and then still got a scholarship and still played pro in the UK. So way to go,
Yeah.
Coburn. Way to go.
Good kid. Yeah.
I know. I tried to get him in the shed, and he told me that he wasn't a big enough name. I'm like, what are you talking about? I can talk to
Oh.
whoever the hell I want.
Yeah.
just show him that Elkie and I are on. He'll be big enough.
Yeah. Yeah. He knows me. Yeah. He knows us.
So you played after the year you win it. You played 2 more years with South Carolina. You did play 17 games for the Rochester Americans. Sorry for burping the mic, folks.
No,
That's
I was
okay.
about to do it at the same time, so I could cover that up. But
Yeah. So, anyways, Rochester, you got 17 games, but it's tough, right? You get a couple years in. There's new puppies coming in every year. You're never gonna really make it once you're in a few years, right?
yeah, so that year I got called up to Rochester.
Great sound.
So I actually the first year I actually when I was in South Carolina made Rochester at a training camp, and then one game I played and then they sent me down. And then the second year I got called up like mid-season for a pretty lengthy stint. I was probably up there for 2 months and played 17 games.
Yeah.
I'm like Elkie living in the hotel for 2 months and never got a point. So I played on the fourth line with
I totally understand.
Andrew Peters and Ryan Schmier, two guys
Two
that,
meatheads.
yeah, absolute guys that were just their job. Well, I mean,
I understand.
did their job great. Andrew Peters.
You know, I've played 19 AHL games and I've not registered a point, but I have had one fight. And my line mate was Mike Scroy. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah,
the destroyer. He was my hotel roommate and line mate. So
yeah,
Yeah.
him and Schmier both.
So all those guys did great jobs. They did their
Yeah.
jobs great. Just
Yeah.
they're not going to get goal scorers like
it
yourself.
wasn't what I was used to.
No.
Like for power play wise and ice time wise, it was a little different, but it's hard,
Yeah.
right? To really break in and get comfortable in in the AHL, right? Just with all their contract guys and all that stuff. It's hard to break in. So
Yeah, jumping into a role you weren't used to,
you did like what, 4 years in North America? No, 5 maybe before you go to the Sheffield Steelers. How does that happen?
So Mike Blaisdell, who was from Regina in Saskatchewan, gave me a call. I was still in South Carolina. I was planning on signing again in Charleston. So they'd already played like 3 games. So he expedited a flight. I said, I'm done. I'll sign in Sheffield. I'm on my way. So at that time I was married too at the time and expecting a baby on the way. And I flew over there, and so I got a game that night. I'm flying out of Charleston. I got a game that night in Basingstoke. Need me there. They said, need you there. I was like, do they really need me that bad? So I fly into Manchester Airport, and they had told me, go in separate. Your wife and you go in separate for some reason, for visa. We don't have visa reasons. You have to go in separate. So we end up going in separate, and we ended up getting apprehended, saying, hey, you guys are married, or you can't go in here to.
So yeah,
separately.
we're
You
on
need
the
to get-"
same flight, but then you
Yeah.
went to customs separately.
that's what they told us to do. I'm not telling who told us to do that, but that was our instructions, to go in
Okay.
separate for visa reasons. Meanwhile, the administration people from the Steelers were in Manchester Airport waiting for us, and they ended up getting us out of this whole jam. And I've still got a game to play. And so it was like a long delay. So they ended up throwing my wife at the time in the one van, unmarked van, taking her to Sheffield, and me in another van sending me to Basingstoke. So they zipped me all the way there. I don't even remember how far it was. It was quite a drive. And I end up getting into the locker room, and I see guys that I recognize. So everything kind of turned around. Like I knew Brent Bobick and Jared Adams, who I'd played with previously, and Mike Perron, who I'd battled for years, ended up being my line mate on this thing. So I ended up getting a goal on my first shift in Basingstoke after
all that.
all this went. But after that, I was like, I had a few bad games. They were ready to put me on the front of the plane home, saying I was terrible, but things ironed out after that, and I got my legs, and everything turned out great that year.
So you were only there for 1 year, and you guys won the league and the playoffs, and you had you had like a point a game as a power forward.
So I played with Mike Perron and Jared Adams on a line.
Jared Adams is a forward.
He was at that. They transferred him up to being a forward. And
because I only saw him as a coach, and I just saw as like, I don't know what to say. He's
actually a defenseman.
Yeah, I was gonna say his body screams defenseman. Sorry.
Big G. Yeah, so the G was on the wing with Perron. Perron was the centerman, and I was the other wing. So we ended up clicking. We had and then we had Eric Anderson and Mark Dudium, and we had Dion Darling. And
we can't skip over Eric Anderson. Okay.
Yeah.
For a small hockey world, Stratford Colleton. So when I went to watch with the Elmira Shurikings, we would go as a team to watch NCAA teams play, so the kids could see what it's like. We went to watch St. Lawrence play. Brandon Dietrich, who's an Elmira Shuriking. Eric Anderson was on that team, and Jeff Van Nijenatten's our goalie. And he did this move during the game, and I still remember it. It was like a shimmy shake with his arm out, like he was going to go do stuff, but he never really did anything except shimmy shake. But Jeff Van Nijenatten just lost his mind. He's like, oh my God, that's the move he did when I was a kid. Oh my God, I'm watching it in NCAA. And like, it stuck with me. And then I saw the research team saw you were playing with him in Sheffield. And it's like, why do all these names like that? I remember everybody. It's weird.
When he played in Stratford, he broke the record. I don't check's record. Again, so it won't sound great. And I was 16. So that Brian Warlow's coach, he's like, all right, can you go shadow him?
So what's the record? Record for points?
Points. He had 147 points in, like, what is it, 48 games?
Yeah.
So he broke Ed Ochek's record. They beat us, like, I don't know, it was like 12-2. I don't know what it was. He had 9 points, but when he had like 7 points, he sent my line or whoever, it was me and our line. He's like, you guys don't let him score. You guys shadow this guy. Wasn't like 3 shifts later, he broke the record. So it's like the biggest. I was like, hey man, congratulations. Oh yeah, by the way, we're supposed to shadow you, and you just broke the record. 9 points in one game to break the record. Yeah. That guy was good.
No, he
Eric
was
Anderson
good.
and I used to ride so when we were in Sheffield, we used to ride to the arena together every day in this little shoebox of a car, and he had to drive, obviously on the left hand side and everything. And I remember us just going round and round and round in these roundabouts, couldn't get out. And it was, we used to go to
get confusing, right? When you're driving on the wrong side of the road, it can get real confusing. Yeah. So that season, there's another shed guy in that team. You may not remember me. We played like 20 games. Chris Bailey.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Isn't he a model now?
He's a photographer. So he takes pictures of people like working out. He has like an old rustic gym of like where like people do photo shoots in this rustic old gym, and he's the photographer and he owns the place, and they come to him to do that. And I just met him this summer. I went over to Cardiff, and he was one of the guys at a testimonial game.
Are you doing the gym?
No, I didn't have a photo shoot.
You didn't
No,
make the photo shoot?
There's no photo shoots. No, no photo shoots.
No,
No.
I remember Bales. He was part of the whole program there and stuff. One of the young Brits coming up. So yeah.
Yeah,
and
no.
Ryan Lake and
Anyways, I just saw he was on the roster, but it's just a
Yes.
small world, right? Because I just met him this summer, and like now
no
meeting
way.
you, it's just weird. The whole
Yeah.
thing's weird. Anyhow, so you guys won it though. Do you not find it weird though over there that the regular season is the championship and there's no playoffs, like real
Yeah,
playoffs?
So things are crazy. So we ended up winning the actual league in Belfast. And after we took a chartered plane over there that had no bathrooms on it, and the pilots like throwing out peanuts and waters to everybody and be like, all right, see you in an hour. And he gets in and flies and we don't have a bathroom or whatever. So what's weird about the whole,
What do you mean you
You know,
don't
like
have
you
a
said,
bathroom?
there's no
Air-
bathroom on this plane.
How can there not be a bathroom on a plane?
This one did not have it.
Just pissing the cup,
Yeah.
man.
There's some of that
Gatorade
going on.
bottles everywhere.
No, it got worse. It got worse. So we ended up winning the championship in Belfast. And what's weird was we had to be in Nottingham the next day for another game, like to play, which meant nothing because we'd already won it. So we ended up having a party like it was a Holiday Inn Express, having a great party downstairs. I don't know, not many hotels just let you have party down, outside the
Run
the
amok.
breakfast buffet.
Yeah,
Yeah. People were coming in like we didn't even know these Belfast people all coming in. But we had to catch this charter plane back to Nottingham the next day, and we are all on there. There's no bathroom. And I mean, we're all like hung over. We ended up going into Nottingham and beating them the next night too. So it was a year where we had 6 losses, I think, the entire season, and one of them was in the Challenge Cup final.
so why don't you go back?
So I wanted to. Had a baby, ended up going to Odessa with Elkie.
So
Way
you want-
better
but-
idea.
And so
No, the main reason was I had family. I had a baby.
and you guys just okay. So
Yeah.
it maybe wasn't your decision where the hockey career went from there.
No, it was a little bit of it was kind of
That those
yeah,
things happen.
Yeah. Life started taking different turns.
But like Odessa, like I don't know what the perks are there compared to like
It's
going
called
to the
slow
EIHL.
death.
No, it was signing there through friends and through Matt Cressman and
Another Michigan boy. Hey,
yeah,
Western
Western
Michigan.
Matt
Michigan guy.
Fressman.
Paul
Yeah.
Davies was there,
Paul-
Western Michigan.
Paul
Yeah.
Davies is a dandy. I tried to get him in the shed. He's a doctor now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He's Doogie Howser. Yeah,
crazy. I can see that from him. Yeah.
he's a good kid too. Smart.
Great guy. Yeah. Cambridge Winterhawk.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
put me out of playoffs, that bastard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyways, no, so you enjoyed your time in Sheffield then?
It was awesome. Loved the fans there, loved the whole experience, loved obviously the team was great. First class stuff. I think it's even got better since these days.
No, it's definitely different now than it was back
Yeah.
then, but I think every league is and everywhere is. But it's definitely the players they bring over there, like it's legit.
Yeah.
But I forget what I was gonna say about it, but
Sheffield,
that like with your resume, what I saw, it's a research team, you're drafted, you're a big power forward, you put up points and penalty minutes every year. Not many guys go over to the UK, experience it, and then come back. Yeah.
Well, he probably couldn't get his Coho wood sticks over there. Guy was the only guy that used Coho wood sticks until like
Coho
Even
was a
the
good
last-
stick back in the day.
it was, but I
till
think
2006 I used it. And then they
Yeah.
wrote an article on me in Bakersfield saying I still use it. The article was that you're the last lumberjack. And I said, that's it.
yeah.
And then you went to the
That's
one
it.
piece or what? Or then you retired because you couldn't play without the Coho.
When he had a bad year, I think. No, not bad year.
No,
Then you went to
I
the-
still had that. No, I went to that, and then I actually had a really good year in Arizona once I changed it to it.
To one
Like 35 goals.
Isn't it
Yeah.
weird when like change, like it doesn't feel like you want to do it because it's a lot of work and like you got to get used to shit. But then once you actually do it, you're like, things are better now.
I should have changed years ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
His
you know.
stick was She was heavy.
Yeah, it was, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous that I played with that for so long, but oh well.
Okay, so then you go to the Odessa Jackalopes. I don't know if we
Terrible
need to
year.
talk
I had a
about
terrible
that.
year there.
Yeah, let's move on. We'll be here all night, right?
Yeah.
So then the next year you find your way back to South Carolina, right? You wouldn't have wanted to be in Odessa. You wanted to be South Carolina, probably, right?
Yeah, so so I tried to. Well, I wanted to be back in South Carolina. I had like
Who wouldn't want
short
to be?
stint
I've
there,
been
and then
there.
that's when I got. Yeah, then that's when I got traded. I got traded out of there.
Traded your ass to Bakersfield, and then there's a love story. So where'd you meet her?
Yeah, just in. My first relationship was obviously over at that time, and then moved on and had a little break in there, and then just through friends here in Bakersfield. So yeah, kind of changed my whole life.
Yeah, now you've set up shop there, right?
Yeah, because I wasn't excited about the trade when it happened, but it was time, and I guess everybody else saw it except for myself. And then when I got here, it obviously worked out. So
Oh, that's awesome. And you found a home in Bakersfield,
yeah,
but you weren't done there. You played the 2 years, and then how do you end up with the Youngstown Steelhounds with Elke and the fellas?
Wow, that's right there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so I actually got traded out of Bakersfield too to Utah. So I played there for a season, and then
You
for
played in
Jason Christie.
Utah?
Yeah, for the Grizzlies.
Where the hell
Uh,
was the research team on that one?
I don't know. They missed that one. But anyway, and then from there, I was going to sign back in Utah, but then Killer Kaminsky called me and was like, "You want to come to Youngstown?"
And when
then
you
I
guys
knew
talk
Elke.
about Killer,
Like Kevin
Andrew
Kaminsky.
No, I know, like Andrew
Yeah.
Lackner, one of my best friends in the world,
Yeah.
raved of his favorite coach in the world was Killer. Is that
Yeah.
guy that when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
played with him, Elke? Like Andrew Lackner loved Killer.
By far, just a player's coach, but
Is he still doing it?
yeah, we coaches in Saskatchewan, and
LaRange.
he's a GM and coach in LaRange in Saskatchewan.
In the what?
Like in the
Look on the map as north as possible in Saskatchewan, and there's a
He's-
town
yeah.
called LaRange.
It's like in the
Yeah.
with the junior league there. He's a GM and coach there. They got
Well,
a pretty good squad.
Everybody I've listened to that's played for him really likes the
Oh,
guy. That's
unbe-
kind of what you want as a coach. I think.
Unbelievable guy. He likes, like, if you're winning, he lets the boys have their fun. And then if
And
he
if
still
you're
makes you work.
losing, then you suck and be
Yeah, but
better so you can have fun.
I don't think we ever lost much of them. Like, our teams were always pretty good with around him.
Because you get to have fun.
And a lot of guys would come play for him because they knew it was him coaching, right? Like,
And you
he'd
get
be
to
able
have
to pick
fun.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. Fun is fun, but
Fun is fun.
when you got a coach that people want to play for,
Yeah.
they're going to come, right? So for him recruiting, he'd always get good guys, and he always brought in guys that were good around the room. So it made the team fun. Like Youngstown, I don't know if I could see a better team than that one year we played.
No.
Well,
he
and
didn't.
like you go on the 30-day road trip with the 15 games. If you don't recruit the right people and the right players,
Yeah,
you're not going to do well, and it's not going to be fun. If you
No.
recruit the right people and you have the right people there, that 30-day tripper can be a beauty.
that felt
Yeah.
like a 30-day all-inclusive trip.
Yeah, it's not- I don't think you'd ever
Working,
not let
working
you
all
talk to
day can
anybody.
be fun or it can suck, right? It's
Yeah,
whatever you make
yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
He let us talk to people after we lost. So on the bus or on the
No,
plane.
it was more
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The fun bus was rolling all the time there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more than that. It was, yeah. Weren't allowed to talk though.
Yeah, exactly. That's not even fun. Yeah.
No time.
No.
Anyways, so Youngstown Steelhounds, 63 points in 64 games, and I believe you're like an all-star that year, right? Or no?
No, I ended up after that. So Youngstown ended up folding that year. After that, I would have went back to Youngstown, but they folded.
Yeah.
And that's around when Elke's done then too, right?
So
then-
Elke, where's you?
I
He
went to
Memphis.
I went to Memphis with Killer,
Right.
and then he went to
The
Arizona.
Sun Dogs.
And I had a wise man tell me if I wasn't going to be getting called up anymore or moving up at all, go south.
Right.
So I ended up getting out of
Find
the
a
snow.
home.
Yeah, I said go to Arizona. So I ended up signing in Arizona for the Sundogs.
And then, okay. And then you end up, though, playing for shed guy Chris Brooks with the Rio Grande Valley Killer Bees.
Yep.
Was that fun?
Yeah. I mean, we had a tough season that year. It was different because you're playing for somebody that were buddies with.
He's also like a first year pro coach. He's just right. Like he's just out of the NCAA where you're like kids and they got to like make sure you don't screw up outside. Right. And it's like pro's a little different. Right.
Right. And then he's catching me at kind of the end of my career. So, we're getting to the end.
Yeah. When you're swerving and he's like, I'm trying to do.
He's trying to steer you in the wrong way.
It's just like, and we're kind of like the same age, right? So it's like, he's getting started going up with his coaching, and I'm kind of getting out of the hockey as a player. So
and Rio Grande's not a bad place to play.
To be, I don't want to go down the wrong path with that.
It's a good place.
Yeah, we had a good time there. So it was, it was just unfortunate.
And you played with Nathan Ansel?
Yeah, you played with him, right?
He was like, I think he's a class or two, but below, or he's 2 classes below me.
Little D-man.
Right-hand shot, played for Clinton. You know who he is. Yeah.
I played
those
against
punks from Clinton that beat us, whatever. Right?
Yeah. Well, if you wouldn't have got sick or whatever the hell happened to you.
Well, I went septic and almost died, but only went to work with an IV in my arm for 16 days to play senior A for free.
I was with you, buddy.
With fun times. And you're playing with 2 fake hips out. That was wild times, but
hey, it was a fun time. It was.
It was. And you know what? If we wouldn't have done it, we wouldn't have these memories, right?
No, that's right, buddy. Yeah.
And I don't know. Swerve, you got anything else for me? Because I'm trying to look at this. You know who else I have written down is a guy that inspired all of this, that started all this was I went on the podcast Hockey Think Tank with my college buddy, Jeff Lavecchio, and his sidekick is Topher Scott, who's in Rio Grande Valley.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I went on their podcast, and that was when I was like, you know what? It's really fun to talk about all the shit I did, and I never get to do it. And I don't think anybody around here wants to listen to it. And if they do, now they can voluntarily listen to it instead of me talking about it. I can just do it in my shed. And then if you want to hear about it, we did it. Right. But like going on that podcast made me realize that, like, you know what? There might be more guys like me out there that like talking about the life they had, the fun they had, the shit they got to do, and nobody wants to listen to us anymore except for each other.
You're doing a great thing here.
Yeah. No, it's fun.
It is fun. And fun is fun, right, Jeff?
That's right, buddy. Hey, I'll tell you can't put a price on fun, buddy.
Topher Scott was Brooksy's boy in Rio.
Oh, I could imagine. He'd be a high tempo player. I've never seen him play. I can just picture it. Yeah.
He reminded him of himself.
Yeah. Rudy Rudiger.
No, but seriously, what this whole thing has started and it's so fun for me. And that, like, Alki texts me and he's like, hey, I'm in Bakersfield and I got a Bronco here. And it's like, to how small the world feels now compared to when Elkie saw me first come home from hockey. And I was a fat, depressed mess. I didn't know what was up or down. I didn't know what was going on to how much better I feel now that, like, and it's talking to assholes like you that make me feel better. And it makes my life better. It does. It makes my day better. It makes my night better. And like, I have something to look forward to. It's like I had a game tonight. I was like, I know I'm doing that tonight with those guys and I'm going to be prepared and I'm going to be ready and it's going to be go time. And I miss that shit.
Yeah. No, I know it's a great thing, and there's a lot of stories out there, and amongst us hockey players, we've had some great journeys and a lot of
And guys that didn't play in the NHL, right?
Yeah.
things happen to us,
Yeah.
along the way that are
There's guys that did
interesting.
make $1 million that had some wild rides.
Yeah, and they loved it, and they probably wouldn't change it for the world. So
No.
yeah, the $1 million, it all sounds good, but the memories and the relationships and the friends that we all make along the way is worth that money.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
shed guys know shed guys, and like you
Yeah.
know that you two are sitting there together tonight, and I bet you're gonna go out there and have fun and run amok and do whatever you do. It's early over there, it's bedtime for me, but like I love it. I love seeing people having fun and enjoying life, and hockey brings so many of us together, and I think
Yeah.
it's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we appreciate what you're doing, Wally. This is good for everything. When I started poking through your podcast and seeing all the guests you had, and it brought back a lot of memories, and I know a lot of the people that you know. So
Ah,
small world, the hockey world.
and you know what? I'm gonna keep doing it, and it's gonna keep getting smaller. So
There's more guys out there with even the
Yeah,
lots of stuff.
you gotta get that Curtis Dooley and a few of those boys on, the guys that we played with. I'll send you their info. He's
Yeah.
a beauty too.
I
And
only
he's
got
a-
a few. I only got a few guys in line, but you know what?
Yeah,
This
they all played over there
These
in
are
Europe
first
too,
world
yeah.
problems. To have guys lining up to come in the shed is a lot different than be begging for people to come because they're worried about what I'm going to ask or what I'm going to say. Like, I love reminiscing and spotlighting the fantastic dudes out there that like hockey guys can get a bad rap sometimes. And like, sometimes it really bothers me
Yeah. I
when
hear ya.
hockey players get bad raps because they play a sport, because they play hockey. You know what? How many guys of us are out there helping minor hockey? Elky's out there helping all these kids in town. He's helping everybody around. And it's like, what? So, anyways, I think hockey guys can be fantastic people. And I think a lot of times the spotlight isn't shone that way. And I would rather show how many great, fantastic people I've met and how many great dudes there are out there in the hockey world,
Couldn't have said it better, buddy.
That's right,
You're
man.
100% right.
Yeah. So shut up. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Irving, Elky, and Wally.